a dark peach Parrot. My drink that I'm going to craft is a balance between a couple of proofs, an age, and then the various levels of light and dark. So I'm starting with the darkest of them all, which is this. This is a double-aged Jim Beam Black, 8 years old. So it's a nice old, dark, deep whiskey. It's going to give it that kind of base, if you will. And then I'm going to put this on top of that base with some peach, because the peach flavor plus the light vodka was going to balance the taste of this darker alcohol. This proof here is an 80 proof. This proof here is an 86 proof. So I'm going up and then down a step. Now I'm going to rocket it up with a 90 proof Parrot Bay coconut Puerto Rican rum. This light rum and sweet flavor is going to enhance the peach, level out the vodka, and then give this double age another punch because of the proof. 86, 80, 90. So it's the mixture I'm going with. And the mixture I'm going with is going to allow me to concoct a drink that you'll only have to drink one or two of to feel the effect, the desired effect. Because of the way the proofs are balanced and the taste is balanced, you're going to like to drink it, and you're going to be like, whew, there's a little alcohol in there. And those are the kind of drinks I personally like to make. I have friends that like that. Some of them tell me to make it double strong, and I can oblige. So this was my personal concoction. I didn't know where else to pull this from. All I did was take what I have learned from certain alcohols and certain different flavors and proofs from drinking them, and not drinking them to excess, but drinking them to taste, to make sure that I know, what each thing is going to come off like on a palate, So this is just my personal philosophy. Could be completely wrong, Scholars might disagree. That's fine. But my personal philosophy is this: I like to create drinks that taste good, give you a kick, and smell good all at the same time. So what you want to do, especially when you're making one of these very heavy alcohol mixed drinks, you want to give a whiff to everything and make sure it jives. If you smell an alcohol that just does not go together with the other ones, you take it out. The last thing you want is someone to taste your drink and, what is that? What's that taste in there that I can't quite place that's overpowering everything else? You want to make sure all of this blends. And the way I've learned to blend it, like I said, is taste, age, and proof. Those are my 3 criteria that I kind of try to stick to. I also like regions. This is from the south, this is from France, imported, and this is from Puerto Rico, imported. So the idea is these 3 alcohols are from 3 different places as well. So remember that everybody has their own special way of doing things. American vodka isn't like French vodka. American whiskey isn't like Canadian whiskey. It's all very different. So a good idea is to taste everything. Scotland makes a great Scotch whiskey. Just saying. I'm going to add probably a small amount of this one. So I'm going to go ahead and put a shot cap on that. I'm going to add a bit of this. I'm going to go ahead and put a flow cap on that, and then I'm going to add just a touch of that, because we're trying to balance everything. I don't know exactly if it's plagiarism to copy another bartender's tricks, but I thought this was actually quite crafty. Alright, so what he did is put a little bit of water in the glass, and then just add a little ice to each glass. And what we're doing is chilling the glass nice and frosty. So he said that you don't want to add a cold drink to a warm glass. So there's that. The whole philosophy behind this little trick here. because it's just water. So water, the good thing about water is the pH in water is a 7. Generally speaking, water is going to maintain a more neutral pH than any other type of liquid. A lot of other liquids have pHs balanced either higher or lower on the scale, either more acidic or more basic. Things like this are no different. So a Scotch whiskey has a very, very nice basic flavor because it's deep and dark. So a lot of times people like to put water in their Scotch. It takes that pH and brings it down just enough so you can taste that subtle notes of the oak and, you know, all of this aging that goes into Scotch blended whiskey. But you still get the smoothness of like water, you know, going with your alcohol. It's a little different in that realm. So generally speaking, 1, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, that's about a shot. This actually measures a shot for me, which is totally cool. I like these little ends here. All I have to do is turn it completely upside down. It gives me a fine shot. Now, this particular drink, in my opinion, can be made a few different ways. It can either be shaken, it can be stirred. You know, it can also go with other things. I honestly thought tonic would be really good in a drink like this. You could throw in what I use as tonic is a Sprite, and a tonic would also enhance a few of these flavors that are going into this beverage. So this is the straight drink right there, with all 3 alcohols mixed, basically 1 to 1 to 1, because I wanted the taste to blend the way it smelled. I came up with this mainly by looking at the types of alcohol I had, applying my 3 criteria, and then asking myself who will be drinking my drink.
Nice.
If I'm drinking my drink, a gin and tonic is my way to go. Heavy gin and a little tonic, because that's my personal favorite. But if someone else is drinking my drink, like I say, I put an emphasis on the taste being an taste with a alcohol in it, you know, back to it. And if you notice, she did exactly what I thought she was going to do, because that's who I'm making it for. You know, folks that want to taste the drink and taste the alcohol without necessarily, you know, slamming it right from the bottle. So, I mean, the drink itself kind of came out of the fact that I have mixed a few different alcohols due to a book that my dad bought me, and learned a thing or two just by doing that, and then starting to experiment, you know, completely on my own, rather than taking, you know, all the measurements out of a book, taking the measurements kind of out of my head and the, you know, taste out of my head rather than a book, you know. So I'll go ahead and take a sip.
Damn.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Although, me personally, I could put a little more whiskey in here. So if someone were to tell me, you know, Ben, I like your drink, but I would really like it if it had something. You know, if they said if it had just a little more kick. Oh yeah, they're asking for this. If they're like, oh, it's too much alcohol, they're asking for this. If they're asking for, man, I like it, but I want it stronger but not darker, they're asking for this. Depending on what someone wants, I can adjust. You know, the criteria in my head works out in a way that I can adjust up and down, left and right, to accommodate people. You know, because I'm not serving alcohol, I'm serving people. You know, it's the people that are drinking the alcohol. The alcohol needs to work for people. You know, I mean, work for y'all. You know, it's not whether it's good or not. You know, it could be the most expensive alcohol in the world and taste terrible, just because, you know, whatever. Maybe it's not mixed right. Maybe the guy that poured it for you didn't pour it in the right proportions or know how. You know, There was a story I heard where someone was trying absinthe, right? There's a very specific way to do absinthe. There's rules, there's a spoon, you know, there's something else that goes to it. I'm not quite sure, I'm not an absinthe drinker. But I know that there's a lot of rules to it. So, one of my friends, decided he'd be brave, and he took that absinthe and he slammed it right out of the bottle. Wasn't smart. He immediately put it back up. Absinthe is not the kind of thing you can slam out of a bottle. Because of the way it's made, the proof in it is like 200 or 210 or something. It's incredibly high. You have to take it in a certain way and strain it through a certain device. You know, that's all I know about the production of absinthe, is you have to strain it through a certain device. You know, alcohol like this, very, very, very different. Very different concept. Alcohol like this requires, you know, a knowledge of what tastes good together. You know, and what doesn't. I mean, I was thinking, excuse me, at first, Jägermeister? No. That doesn't jive. That doesn't fit. No. Di Serono is an almond, beautiful almond liqueur. Di Serono is prestigious. It's almond liqueur. It's delicious. Doesn't jive with my drink. I'm not going to add Di Serono because it doesn't jive. Grand Marnier, another delicious liqueur. You know, I love it. Doesn't jive. You know, wasn't what I was looking for. I was almost going to add Captain Morgan Sherry Oak finish rum, an 86 proof rum, so it was relatively the exact same proof as this. But tell me this, it was not dark enough. It was too light, and I needed something that I could build on, something dark. And this Jim Beam Black was the only thing I had dark enough to build up my drink from, you know? So the idea is I wanted to take something really dark and I wanted to build off of that to make a smooth, dark drink. So that's why I call it a black parrot. So parrots are nice and smooth and slick as their feathers, and a black one is just nice and dark. So there you go.